Hi everyone, and welcome to class. We're going to start down on our backs. So when you're ready, come to lie down on your mat and have the feet flat on the mat with your knees bent up towards the sky, about hips width apart. Rest your arms down next to your hips, palms facing up, and close your eyes. We're going to be moving through some pretty deep back bends today, so I want you to start by feeling the entire length of the spine on the mat and take a few deep breaths in and out, setting aside whatever came before this class and coming into this moment. Instilling trust in your body and dialing in the focus so that we can set up a strong foundation and really enjoy these deep heart openers in a safe and sustainable way. Blink the eyes open and rotate the hands so that the palms are facing flat down on the mat. Walk the feet in slightly so the heels are a little bit closer towards your glutes. Tuck the tailbone, really feel the low back imprint into the mat. And then from here, begin to push through the heels, lifting the hips, rolling the spine, coming into bridge. Keep the gaze up and notice the activation of the glutes and the hamstrings to hold this steady foundation. And then lift the arms straight up, pointing the fingertips towards the sky. So everything stays exactly where it is, engaging a little bit more of that core and back body strength. And then take the arms overhead so the backs of the hands meet the mat behind you, keeping the arms straight and the shoulders gently pressing down into the mat. Keeping the arms where they are, slowly start to roll the hips down. Once your glutes come to the mat, swing your arms down beside your hips. And then begin to roll the hips back up into bridge. Once they are at the top, bring the arms back overhead. Once again, keeping them where they are, slowly roll the hips down, feeling the whole spine meet the mat, and then bring the hands down towards your hips. 2 more rounds of this shoulder opener and spinal massage. Keep the hands down beside your hips, roll the hips up to bridge, and then come up onto the toes of both feet. So just getting into different areas of the hamstrings and the glutes here. Same as before, feel a strong foundation and then lift the arms pointing the fingertips up towards the sky. Really push through the balls of the feet. Hips are high. Lower the heels down, lower the hips down, and bring the hands back down beside you. Now walk the feet out slightly, but keep the knees bent, and then reach the arms back up overhead, same thing as before. Inhale here, find lots of length, and then as you exhale, tuck the chin and begin to roll yourself up to sit. You can hold the backs of the thighs if you need some support. Once you're there, inhale, sit tall. Exhale, tuck the chin, round through the spine as you roll back down. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, roll up. Holding onto the thighs or not, keeping the hands free and reaching the arms up overhead as you come to sit. Then bringing them out in front of you as you roll back down, sweeping them up overhead. 2 more. On this last one, stay sitting up. And then reach the hands out in front of you or hold the backs of the thighs, coming into Navasana, boat pose. So shift your weight back just enough so you can float the feet off the mat, bringing them to a tabletop, or you can straighten the legs. Reach the fingertips far out in front of you. Keep the spine long, chest proud, gaze forward, and breathe. With control, lower down to a low boat, straighten the legs, point the toes, reach the fingertips. And then bring yourself back up to boat. Take one more breath, enjoy your strength here. And then relax, cross the legs, bring your hands out in front of you and make your way over to tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, point the toes and spread the fingers wide. As you inhale, drop the belly towards the floor, take the gaze up as you pull the chest slightly through the gateway of your arms. And then as you exhale, puff the spine, tuck the chin, take the gaze down towards the belly. A few more rounds of your cat-cow here with your breath. We're looking for as much length as we are curvature through the spine here. So as you take that cow spine, really think about pulling the gaze forward and up, finding more depth without crunching the spine. Come back to a neutral spine. Walk the knees back behind you just slightly, and then transfer the weight so the shoulders come forward beyond your wrists. And then from there, lower the chest down to the mat as well as the chin. Keep the bum pointed up towards the sky. Gaze is forward, elbows are squeezing in and up towards the sky, toes are pointed. Breathing here in this deep opening of the chest and the throat. Slowly slide the feet back, lowering the hips all the way down. And then bring yourself up to Sphinx. So elbows are underneath your shoulders, arms are parallel, and fingers are spread wide. Keeping the toes pointed long out behind you, begin to pull the hands back slightly so that the chest comes through the arms. Gaze is forward. Lower your chest down, take the hands underneath the shoulders, and then press yourself back up to tabletop. Extend the left leg back behind you, pointing the toes. Lift the leg to hip height, and then bend the leg, pointing the toes up towards the sky. As you inhale, reach the toes and the gaze up towards the sky, arching through the back. As you exhale, curl the spine, bring forehead into the knee. Inhale, take the toes and the gaze up towards the sky. Exhale as you curl everything in. Inhale, toes reach high up towards the sky. Hold here. Reach the right fingertips forward and then bring that arm back behind you. See if you can catch a hold of the inside of the left foot. And then begin to kick the foot into the hand, coming into this tiger bind. Gaze is far out in front of you. Slowly release that grip and extend the arm and the leg long before coming back to neutral. And then extend the right leg long behind you, pointing the toes, lifting it to hip height, and then bending the leg to point the toes up to the sky. Inhale, arch through the spine as you lift the toes and the gaze up. Exhale, forehead to knee. Inhale as you open, and exhale as you close. Hold the toes up to the sky, reach the left arm out in front of you this time, and then bring it back around, grabbing a hold of the inside of the right foot. Begin to kick the foot into the hand, coming up into this tiger bind. Slowly release that hold, extend both the arm and the leg before bringing them back down to tabletop. And then from here, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. You can keep a soft bend in the knees, but try to maintain some stillness here. Breathing and letting the spine neutralize. And then slowly walk the feet forward. Keeping the knees bent, roll yourself all the way up to stand. Three rounds of Surya Namaskar A. Come to Tadasana, feet together, hands at chest center in prayer. Root through the feet and stand tall. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, fold all the way forward, hands to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, coming up onto the fingertips. Exhale, hands down, step back into a plank, hold here. Inhale, press through the hands. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, pull yourself forward and up into cobra. And exhale, bring yourself back to downward facing dog. Keep your dog still here. Take 5 breaths. Push equally through the hands and through the feet. Last inhale here. Exhale, come up onto the toes, bend the knees, hop or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, hands to prayer. Exhale, pull your prayer down, Tadasana. Inhale, reach the arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to a plank and hold. Inhale here, push through the hands. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, pull yourself forward and up to a cobra. Exhale, bring yourself back, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. Final inhale. Exhale, come up onto the toes, bend the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, Tadasana. 1 more round. Inhale, reach the arms up, maybe take a back bend. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step back to a plank, hold here. Inhale, push through the hands. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, reach the right leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, open up through the hips, bend the leg, and bring the heel in towards the glutes. Take a couple of breaths here in this very active stretch, opening up the right hip flexor and the right side body. Keep squeezing that heel in towards the glutes. Inhale, square off the hips. Exhale, bring the knee in towards the chest before stepping the foot down between the hands. Lower the back leg, untuck the toes. Inhale, lift yourself up to Anjaneyasana, low lunge. As you exhale, start to open the upper body towards the right side of the mat. Right hand is going to find the back of the left thigh. Left fingertips are going to reach up high towards the sky. Gaze follows. Breathing here in this twisted version of Anjaneyasana. Windmill the arms, left palm comes down to the mat, right fingertips come up to the sky, still twisted here. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then begin to roll onto the outside edge of the left foot, stepping the right foot to meet the left, Vashisthasana, side plank. Keep lifting the hips up, strong through the side body. Keep the gaze forward or look up to the fingertips. Right hand comes down to the mat, bring yourself into plank. Lift the right foot, point the toes. Inhale here. Exhale, three-legged chaturanga. Inhale, bring both feet to the mat, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, open up the hips, bend that leg, and squeeze the heel in towards the glutes. Breathing here. Huge activation of the hamstring muscles here. Inhale, square the hips. Exhale, knee to chest, and then step the foot forward. Lower the right knee, untuck the right toes. Inhale, bring yourself to sit tall, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, begin to open the upper body towards the left side this time. Left hand finds the back of the right thigh. Right fingertips reach high up towards the sky. And breathe. Windmill the arms, right palm down to the mat, left fingertips up to the sky. Tuck the back toes, lift the back leg. And then begin to roll onto the outside edge of the right foot, with control stepping the left foot to meet the right, Vashisthasana. Think about pushing through the right palm, keeping the hips lifted high. And then bring the left palm down to the mat, squaring yourself off into a plank. Lift the left foot, point the toes behind you. Inhale here. Exhale, three-legged chaturanga. Inhale, both feet to the mat, upward facing dog. Exhale as you come back into downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, open up the hips, bend the leg. Inhale as you bring the knee in towards the chest and then over towards the left elbow. Exhale as you place the outside edge of the right foot onto the mat, straightening the leg and coming up into fallen triangle. left fingertips up to the sky. Press the hips high and then reach the arm far up overhead in line with the ear. Breathing here, taking in this deep side body extension and hip opener. Gaze down to the mat, bring the left palm down. Begin to come up onto the toes of the left foot, squaring off the hips, and then squeeze the right knee in towards the chest. Place the right shin down on the mat. Lift the left leg in line with the hip, bending the knee, coming back into that tiger pose. This time holding here, toes up to the sky, gaze up. Such a powerful active back bend. Place the knee down, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, open up the hips, bend the leg, heel in towards the glutes. Inhale as you bring the knee in towards the chest and then bring it over towards the right elbow. Exhale, bring the right foot down onto the mat, extend the left leg coming onto the outside edge of the left foot. Fingertips up to the sky and then reach that arm far up overhead. And breathe. Gaze down to the mat, bring the right palm down, come up onto the tippy toes of the right foot, squeeze the left knee into the chest, and then place the left shin down underneath you. Lift the right leg, bend that knee, point the toes up, take the gaze up, active tiger. Reach the toes a little bit higher as you pull the chest through and up. And then lower that leg down, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let's take a vinyasa here. Inhale as you come forward into a plank, press through the hands. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, take the gaze up. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then lower the knees down to the mat. Then lower the knees down, untuck the toes, and walk your hands back, bringing yourself into a kneeling position. Close the eyes, rest the palms in the lap, and turn the palms upward. Let's continue. Take the hands out in front of you, tuck the toes, reach the hips up and back, downward dog. Inhale, right leg, three-legged dog. Keep the hips square this time. Exhale, bring that foot forward between the hands. Inhale, bring yourself up to a crescent lunge. So staying here, strong in your foundation, tall through the spine, or bring yourself into a back bend. Reaching the fingertips up slightly and letting the spine be supple as you take yourself back. Come back to center, take the arms behind you, clasp the hands, and then pull the hands down towards the mat, opening through the chest before folding over that front leg, coming into a sort of humble high lunge. Similar to a humble warrior one, but we're staying up on the toes of the left foot. Release the clasp of the hands, plant them down on the mat, framing the front foot. Begin to straighten through the right leg and then softly slide the foot back and up to that three-legged dog. Inhale, pull yourself forward to a three-legged plank. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, place the foot down, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Moving into the other side, inhale the left leg up, three-legged dog, keep the hips square. Exhale, bring yourself forward, step the foot between the hands. Inhale, reach the arms up, crescent lunge. Think about scissoring those hips in so that they're as square as possible. Come back up to center, bring the hands behind you, clasp the hands the non-dominant way. Straighten the arms as you pull the hands down to the mat before folding over, making this a humble crescent lunge. Opening the shoulders and challenging our lower body strength a little bit. Release the hands, bring them down, frame the front foot. Straighten the left leg before sliding that leg up and back to a three-legged dog. Inhale forward to a three-legged plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, foot down, coming up to upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And then right away, let's lower the knees once more, untuck the toes, and walk yourself back to a kneeling position. Close the eyes. Rest the palms in the lap facing up. Reconnect, refocus, recalibrate. Open the eyes, and let's keep going. Bring the hands out in front of you, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, open up the hips, bend the leg, and come into wild thing. Right toes down to the mat, right fingertips up and overhead. Breathe into this expansion. Transitioning out, roll onto the outside edge of the left foot. Keep the height in the hips as you take the right fingertips and the right knee up to the sky, side plank. And then step the right foot all the way forward to the top of the mat next to the left hand. Plant the right hand down, frame the front foot. Stretch the right leg and then sweep the leg up to three-legged dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, open up the hips, bend the leg, and then let the toes find the mat behind you, opening up into your version of Wild Thing. Make this your own. Breathe this massive opening and expression, and enjoy it. Transitioning out, rolling onto the outside edge of the right foot. Keep the hips high. Left fingertips and left knee up to the sky, side plank. Gaze down to the mat and then step that left foot all the way forward next to the right hand with control. And then plant the left hand down, frame the front foot. Stretch the left leg and slowly sweep it up and back to three-legged dog. Inhale as you pull yourself forward to plank. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, open up through the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lower the knees down, untuck the toes, and once more sit yourself back into a kneeling position, closing the eyes and taking a moment. Open the eyes, bring the hands out in front of you, and then come to lie down all the way on your belly. Once you're there, stack the hands, elbows are wide, rest the forehead in the pillow of your hands. Really point through the toes here, feel the pelvis pressing down into the mat, setting up for Shalabhasana, locust pose. Take the arms down next to your hips, backs of the hands are pressing down into the mat, palms facing up. Take the chin onto the mat, gaze forward. So legs are together, toes are pointed, press down into the backs of the hands and the pelvis as you begin to lift the legs, followed by the chest and the head. So rather than clenching the glutes here, we're pressing down with the pelvis and finding lots of length from the toes through the head. If you feel good there, lift the arms, reach the fingertips far out behind you. Take one more breath. And then lower everything down. Prop yourself up onto your elbows as if we were coming into Sphinx. And then take the legs as wide as the mat, rotating them out slightly, keeping the toes pointed. Take the right hand over towards the left elbow and pressing through the forearm of the right arm, come up onto the left hand so that you can take the gaze back towards the left foot. Bend the left leg, toes towards the sky, and then reach back, clasp the inside of the right foot. Take the gaze forward. This might be plenty for you to open up the shoulder and the hip flexor. If you want to take it further and come into a deep quad stretch, slowly begin to draw that heel in towards the outside of the left glute. There will come a point where you can begin to rotate the fingertips to curl over the toes and point the elbows up to the sky, using the palm to gently press the heel further down. This is a big one, so breathe, and if you need to come out of it, please do so slowly without slingshotting. Wherever you are, bring both feet slowly down to the mat and set up for the other side. So left hand in towards the right elbow, come up onto the right hand, point the right toes up to the sky. Clasp the inside of the foot and find your depth. If you are taking that deeper stretch, slowly bring the heel to the outside of the right glute. And then there may come a point where you can rotate the fingertips down, elbow up to the sky. Slowly let that foot go back down to the mat, and then bring the head down to rest on top of the hands, shake the hips out. Hands under the shoulders, press yourself up, tuck the toes, and come into downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the right leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to the chest, and then lower the shin down, setting ourselves up for Pigeon, Kapotasana. Really important here to set ourselves up in a pigeon that works for our body on this day, and that can vary quite a lot. So either take the shin parallel to the top of the mat, keeping that front foot flexed, or simply draw that heel in towards the left hip flexor, keeping the toes pointed. Whatever depth feels good for you and feels sustainable. Either way, hips are square, back toes are pointed. Take a look back, make sure that leg is in line with the hip. And then once you're set up, sit tall, sit proud. You can take the fingertips next to the hips, either beside you, maybe slightly in front of you. Or you can place one hand on the foot and one hand on the knee of that front leg. Option here to bow the forehead down to the mat, so keep the spine long and melt the belly and the chest all the way down. If you are down, press yourself back up, and then draw the front heel in towards the left hip flexor, pointing the toes, if it's not there already. We're shortening our stride here to give ourselves a good chance of balance as we move into Ekapada Rajakapotasana, which is King Pigeon pose. So the right fingertips are on the floor just slightly ahead of the right knee. Look back to the back foot, then the leg. See if you can grab a hold of the inside of the left foot or the ankle. This already may be plenty. This is a pretty big back bend as it is. So stay here if so. You can kick that foot into the hand, or you can play with drawing the foot slowly in and out, coming into these gentle pulses, getting used to this intensity and depth. You could also take this into mermaid pose, so you'll bring the toes into the crease of the elbow and then point the fingertips up to the sky. Maybe go for the bind, reach the right fingertips up and back, grabbing hold of the left hand. If you wish to go for King Pigeon, take the right hand, reach it around and grab a hold of the left foot first so that you can dip the left arm underneath and sweep it around as if you're holding a tray on the left hand. And then from there, take the thumb on the bottom of the foot and the fingertips on the top of the foot. The first step here is to pull that foot as close in towards the body as you can, and then start to rotate through the shoulder joint, pointing the elbow up towards the sky. Once you are open in King Pigeon, take the right fingertips next to your body to support you, and think about puffing the chest forward and lifting the spine tall. Take the gaze up and back. Maybe dip the head back to meet the toes. If not today, with time. Coming out the way we came in, draw the foot in towards the body, slowly rotate through the shoulder joint, elbow goes down, and then gently release the grip of the foot, let it float down to the mat. Hands to the mat, slowly press yourself up to downward dog and maintain some stillness here as the spine neutralizes. Other side. Inhale, lift the left leg, three-leg dog. Exhale as you draw the knee in towards the chest before lowering the shin down to the mat. Setting yourself up for pigeon on this side, which may be different from the other one. That's pretty normal. So either taking the shin parallel to the top of the mat, flexing the front foot, or bringing the heel in towards the hip flexor. Remember, hips are square here, back toes are pointed, and that leg is in line with the hip. Once you've found what feels good and sustainable for you, sit yourself tall. And then option to melt yourself down, forehead to the mat. If you are down, gently press yourself back up. And then we'll start to play. So bring the heel in towards the hip, pointing the toes, shortening the stride. Bend the right leg now, pointing the toes up to the sky, and then either reaching for the ankle or the inside of the foot. Finding out for yourself if this is where you want to take this today. If so, stay here, kick the foot into the hand, or play with those pulses. Another option is mermaid. Toes to the crease of the elbow, fingertips to the sky, reach up and back and take the bind. Or we take king pigeon. So the left hand is going to reach around to grab a hold of the right foot, so you can dip the right arm underneath, rotating the palm up and back as if you're holding a tray. And then thumb to the bottom of the foot, fingertips to the top of the foot. Remember to bring the foot in as close to the body as you can before you start to rotate up, bringing the elbow to point towards the sky. This side might feel really different from the other side, and that's totally normal. But it's really important we try to give equal attention and breath to both sides to try to find as much balance as possible. Then pull the foot in towards the body, slowly rotate the elbow down towards the floor. Release the foot back behind you. Plant the hands down in front of you, tuck the back toes, and slowly make your way back to downward facing dog. Lower the knees down, untuck the toes, and come back into a narrow child's pose. So knees and feet together, forehead heavy on the mat. Let the arms rest down beside you, palms facing up. Hands underneath the shoulders to bring yourself up to sit. And then sit onto one of your hips so that you can bring the legs out in front of you, and we'll come to lie down on our back. So a couple of options here to decompress the spine. Bend the knees, bring the feet flat on the mat, and step them as wide as the mat, letting the knees fall in towards each other. So they'll rest against each other. Then you can take the hands out beside you, palms facing up, close the eyes. The other option is to bring the soles of the feet together and let the legs splay open into a butterfly stretch. Relax here, once again feeling the entirety of the spine heavy on the mat, and breathing. And then hug the knees into the chest. Take a few rocks here to massage the back. Before opening the knees, taking the feet up to the sky, grabbing hold of the outside or inside edges of the feet, coming into happy baby. Take a couple of rocks back and forth before finding stillness. Slowly pulling on the feet to draw the knees closer to the mat as you keep the spine long. Release the hold of the feet. Tee the arms out in line with the shoulders, palms flat on the mat. Draw the knees in towards the chest and then drop them over to the left side of the mat. Gaze goes over to the right. Keep the legs bent or extend the right leg, flexing the foot, grabbing hold of the outside edge of the foot. Finding a deep stretch all along the outside edge of the right leg and right glute. Bring the right leg back in. Bring both knees up into center. And then make your way over to the other side, dropping them to the right side of the mat. Gaze over to the left. Close the eyes here. Keep the legs bent or extend that left leg, flexing the foot. Bring the legs back through center and we will set up for plow. So if you have a low ponytail or anything like that, I would maybe remove it just so you don't have any pain on the back of your neck there. And then make sure you have enough room overhead. And then bring the arms down beside your hips, palms flat on the mat. Bend the knees in towards the chest and keep the gaze up to the sky the entire time. Do not turn the head side to side. Take the feet up to the sky with a little bit of momentum. Rock your hips back and then up, rolling them up to the sky as the feet float back behind you overhead, maybe coming to meet the mat. Legs are straight if possible. So imagine the chest coming closer towards the chin, but the chin and the entire head stay exactly where they are. Keep breathing in this powerful counter stretch for all of the work we just did. Coming out of that, slowly vertebra by vertebra, let the hips and the glutes lower all the way down to the mat. And then set yourself up for Shavasana. So grab any cozy blankets or pillows, maybe something to put under the knees. This feels pretty good for the low back. Once you are in your cozy and supportive Shavasana, close your eyes and imagine your whole body and mind becoming really heavy. And trust that the ground and the supports underneath you can hold that. I will leave you to it. I recommend staying here for at least 5 minutes, longer if you can. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, and I will see you next time. Take care. Namaste.